I remember how I've lost the first money I made. And I did it many times since I left the government service in 98. And I've practiced in every kind of small businesses which existed. And one of the first money I made, I've invested into restoring a historical monument, Kazakov, in the center of Moscow. Once I finished one of the fliegels, which is one of the port, the Minister of Interior came and threw me out because I had leased from them. So they liked the house, and that was, I think, 94. Now, real money I made, having made, I'd say, a few hundred, and wasted all of it within 4 years, because I failed on every business, was in a bank. It was a bank called Imperial, which then went underwater. And I did a strange thing which I learned here. I've actually taught them to do a deal for Morgan Grenfell. There used to be a bank here, not anymore. And we actually get involved in a very high-risk, high-reward operation, buying Venezuelan, Mexican, Nigerian, Argentinian, and I think Poland Brady bonds, which were a secondary market, specially traded securities invented by United States to deal with the crisis of third world countries, which were in severe debt to American banks in the beginning of the 80s. That was my PhD. So it's quite a rare thing when you are, as an economist, as a scientist, make money out of that. But you have to have some practical experience. So I had quite some good contacts in the city when I was here. So I've convinced the Russian bank to take a risk. They made a lot of money. That was like, within 5 months, they made 200% per annum because of the very severe upside on the market. And I received probably $500,000 bonus on the operation. Then the bank decided to do it on their own and failed, the Russian one. And I bought a very small bank for, I think, 300,000, which is called National Reserve Bank. It was very small capital. And I sort of, from that platform, I started to practice, which I never thought may materialize and be a success, which is secondary debt, corporate and sovereign. And I was a market maker by 97 in London Club debt, in so-called tiger bonds, which were internal hard currency Russian bonds, emerging from actually Soviet Union defaulting on its sovereign debt, Brady bonds. So by mid-98, before the crisis, my fortune sort of was around 1.2 billion. I've lost it all. It was just evaporated. It was vanished. It has vanished by September 98 completely. I found myself with a debt of a couple of hundred millions, which were foreign debts, denominated in foreign currency, and my loan book was in rubles, and ruble collapsed. It devalued 3 times, more than recently in the modern Putin's Russia. But I decided not to strip the assets. I thought the reputation is something which is valuable. I don't think anymore, by the way. In Russia, it's not. Because most of the major banks stripped the assets and put the banks underwater into bankruptcy procedures. No one has ever been punished for that. This is a very bad practice in Russia. But National Reserve Bank survived. And by 2004, when I was leaving to become an MP, I think the stock markets and the bond markets again came up very seriously. And ever since, I decided to go into the real economy from the banking sector, which is agriculture, airlines, affordable housing, individual homes, product produced out of wood, which is prefab homes, which Russia never had. And this is why I'm practicing.